What's up, mountain biker people? I'm Tor here, back again with another Losco video. And today it's gonna be a little different. We're gonna be doing a Q&A with me, actually. So we asked some questions on our Instagram story as well as on our Instagram post. And so we're gonna take some of those questions and answer them. They're basically about me. I'm the new presenter here, so we're gonna get to know me a little bit better, just so you got a little background as to who's talking in these videos. Yeah, so we're gonna do a little chill recovery ride on the gravel bike. I'm hurting right now, so just taking it easy on a little gravel road here, and yeah, let's get into it. So our first question is definitely the most asked question, and that is just who is Tor? Super fair. I am a 23-year-old dude who just moved to Bellingham about a year ago from Southern California, and I moved out here to basically ride bikes and go to school. So I'm at Western Washington University and living the dream here, riding bikes and just playing in the woods as much as I can in between classes. Second question is, when and where did you start riding? So I started riding back in middle school, like 7th, 8th grade. We would go and just hit dirt jumps after class, and that was my intro to mountain biking. That was back in Santa Barbara where I grew up, and yeah, we would go and just hurt ourselves in the dirt jumps, and that was our introduction to mountain bikes, and never stopped ever since. Third question is, what's the best bike that I've ever ridden? And man, I think that my favorite experience I've had on a bike was actually a loaner bike. I borrowed my friend's Transition Spur for a race weekend, and man, something about a short travel bike with aggressive geometry, that bike was just built to handle anything. It was so efficient on the climbs, and it handled everything I threw at it on the way down. It was actually the most impressed I've been by a bike that punches way above its weight, and a Transition Spur is definitely on my short list of bikes that I would love to have in the quiver. That is a phenomenal bike. Just the cross between low weight and high capability, that thing is in a league of its own. Next question is, what bike do you currently ride? And you're probably not asking about my gravel bike, the Cannondale Topstone. Probably asking about my Transition Spire, which I actually recently switched over from the alloy frame over to the carbon frame. And I strictly did that to just save some weight. The carbon version is actually 3 pounds lighter than the alloy version. And so I just wanted to get a little bit lighter of a build, and I'm very happy with it. The Transition Spire it's a really well-balanced bike, front to rear. I find that it's got a nice short front end with a longer rear end, which for me, puts me right where I want to be on the bike, and there's really no compromise with that thing. It's playful when I want it to be, and it handles the rough stuff exactly the way I'd like it to, and it's really a big bike that is nimble and fun, yet it gets down when it has to. Okay, I think we're on question 5 now. Maybe not, kind of losing track, but maybe question 5. How do I set up my suspension? Talking about settings and clicks and all that stuff. And so this is a pretty open-ended question, just because there's so many suspension platforms and they're all very differently executed. But generally, in my fork, I like to have low damping and rely more on my air spring, just so that I'm a little higher in the travel, and it just feels like I've got more fork than I actually do, rather than staying down in the travel and packing a little more. And in my shock, it's a little bit of the opposite. I like relying more on the damper and less so on the air spring. So I'll run a little more damping in the shock than the rear, rather than the front. And both front and rear, I like a nice quick suspension, or a quick rebound, just so that my suspension isn't packing through repeated hits, and it's really rebounding quickly. And also it just gives me a more active and lively ride, which I really appreciate in a bike, rather than something that's a little more dead, because I really like popping and jibbing off of like little things in the trail. I think that's super fun. Next question is, how do you hit big, scary jumps? And this is something that I think every single mountain biker has gone through at some point. There's a jump that's on their mind that they want to hit, and it's intimidating. We've all been there. And really it all comes down to confidence. If you're not confident when you're hitting a big, scary jump, it's not going to go well. You're going to go over the bars, or something's going to happen. But if you've got the confidence that you know how you're going to pop when you take off the lip and how you're going to spot your landing and touch down smoothly, that's how you hit a big, scary jump. And it's all about the confidence, and you gain that confidence just through repetition. Hitting jumps that you are comfortable on, or maybe you just hit a big scary jump. You hit that a few more times, and suddenly that size of jump isn't as big and scary, and you can start stepping it up. And so it all just comes down to repetition and slowly increasing your comfort level with big air time and scary gaps. Next question is, what is your favorite part about working for the best bike shop in Washington? And it's true, Losco is a great shop, and I feel super lucky to be working here. Work with a bunch of really cool guys every day, and it's just a pleasure to come in and be surrounded by people who are also stoked on bikes. But my favorite part is making these videos, honestly. It's just fun to research cool things going on in the bike world and try out new parts and tell you all what I think about it. When will there be wireless brakes? Man, that's something that really scares me. If there are wireless brakes, man, they've got to have like just an amazing amount of fail safes, and I don't think I would buy the first generation of those personally. I'd be very hesitant to buy wireless brakes, and they might be coming out sooner than we think, but hard to say, man. That's a tough sell for me, wireless brakes. Do I snowboard? Well, I've snowboarded a couple times and it has gone pretty poorly. I'm definitely more of a skier. I don't ski that often, but got out to Baker a couple times this season and man, had a great time. I think next season there's gonna be more skiing for me in my future. I'm really excited for that. All right, so our last question here is a pretty common one here in the mountain biking world is air versus coil suspension. And I actually just threw a coil on my Spire on the ride that I did this. So I'm excited to get more into the coil world. I've been riding the Float X2 for a bit, and we're gonna be doing a little comparison video on that coming soon. And first impressions of the coil is that it is very supple off the top and didn't really have any problems with bottoming out too often. So first impressions are great. I did manage to hurt myself, but I don't think that was the coil's fault. That was just me blowing it. So more coming soon with the coil. So far, very impressed with the coil, but air is also a great option. They've both got their place, but we'll be doing a more in-depth video on that at some point. So that's been it. Hopefully my ramblings weren't too boring for you and you learned a little bit about me. Thanks for all the questions. We appreciate that, guys. And we'll see you in the next mountain biking video. If you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll be back with more shortly. Thank you.